So first of all, thank you for the opportunity of showing this here. It's a little bit on the unusual side because I will talk about a different aspect of Python, which is the social side of it. So I hope you will enjoy it. Let's get started. So I will start the talk talking a little bit about the Rio de Janeiro city to set the ground on why we want to use Python as an outreach tool. Then how the COVID pandemic impacted Brazil, in particular Rio, with a focus on the schools and the high schools. And then I will show you a couple of projects that we have for undergraduates and school and high school students, and with the focus of having it on the social side, so as an opportunity for the underprivileged kids from school and high school. And then I will conclude. So first, let's start with the Rio de Janeiro city. So it's a huge city. It has in its core 6 million inhabitants. And if we consider the immediate outskirts, so the immediate suburbs of the city, we make it to the double, so around 12 million people. And if you look here on the top right at the population by age group, then we see highlighted the ages between school, high school, and university attendance. And we see that it's a significant portion of the population. So to attend those, we have as public schools, we have around 2,000 public schools, and I will emphasize on the public side soon, that attends around 700,000 kids. And when we move to high school, this number goes down by 1/3. So we have around 700 high schools to attend around 250,000 teenagers. So we can have an idea already from this transition from school to high school that there is some sort of evasion, and we can interpret this. One of the aspects of this might be the lack of opportunities for these kids. So let's take a look then at something that happens in the city, that we have not only the public system of schools, but we have a large portion of private schools as well. So there is a whole thing going on the private system. Let me start describing in images the situation of the public schools. It's not all, but this is more frequent than we would like it to happen. So this is the rooftop of a public school in a community in Rio, Favela da Maré. And this sign is saying, "School, please don't shoot." And it happened in 2019, but it happens every now and then, unfortunately, when there are police operations in these communities, and the police arrive in helicopters shooting in the communities. And here is a classroom of a public school, not particularly this one, but just to have an idea of a classroom in the public system. And on the opposite side of this, we have the private schools that are quite different, as you can see. So here on the bottom right is a picture of a private school with a very well-equipped lab and classrooms. And if you look further into the pictures, you will see how it can create social and racial bias in the society and of Rio in general. So we can ask ourselves, how can we create then opportunities for those kids that come from some of those public schools and high schools? But then, and we started the project, but then came the pandemic, and all around the world. And in Brazil, we were hit very hard, and we had a very bad management of this COVID pandemic, as I'm sure you all know. We reached around a peak of 100,000 new cases per day in Brazil. And in Rio, we had peaks of around 2,000 new cases per day. That's huge. And unfortunately, it was very badly managed. So because of this, especially in Rio, with the high number of cases, we had the public schools that were closed for 1 full year. The private schools opened much earlier because they had the structure to do so, but not the public schools. And this 1 year without classes mean for many children, not even online classes, means nothing, 1 year without school. But now the vaccination program in Rio has included the teachers in the priority group of vaccination. So in principle now, all the teachers from all schools and high schools are vaccinated, and the schools are again slowly reopening. So that gives us some sort of hope. We can try to continue with our project to teach Python in schools in Rio, in the public schools. And then I want to talk just a little bit, very fast, about the university. So the State University of Rio, because it gives us the environment to do this kind of project, because it has a history of social engaging. So the State University of Rio was the first university to have a woman as a university dean, and it was the first university in Brazil to implement affirmative action quotas for the minorities. So also because of that, the State University of Rio historically received many students from public schools. So we started actually this project as a way of trying to help some of these students to improve their learning skills with Python. So to use Python as a tool for that. And then with some of the projects we developed with the students at the university, we thought we could bring it to the high schools and then teach Python at the high schools and bring some of the tools we developed at the university as an outreach tool for HEP. So then I will talk a little bit, I will show actually a few of those projects that we have with the undergrad students. So they learn about HEP with Python and build tools to be used in the high schools. And the schools and high schools, we teach block programming. We have to start like at a very simple level because many of those students don't even have access to a computer. So then after we teach block programming, we go to Python learning, we do workshops, and some of them have scientific grants. I will talk about it in one slide at the end. So this is an example of a couple of projects that we have in the undergrad level. This is one of our students, Gabriel, that did it. He started with feet on the Z peak, on the Z to Mu Mu. This is a notebook that is available in the CMS Open data, and then he modified it to use a different fitting package. And then for fitting the signal, we wanted a convolution of 2 PDFs, and he did it by hand. Now we could of course improve this by using, for example, the ZFit package as it was shown here in the workshop. But Gabriel has now moved on to do his master's with us, and this was his bachelor thesis, where he used also a notebook from the CMS Open data to classify events of Higgs to ZZ to 4 leptons using the extreme gradient boost package. And here you can see on the light blue dots are the Higgs signal as his classification model, and the black dots are the backgrounds. And then another project we have with also undergrad students, it's this GUI that fits peaks on the dimuon spectrum of CMS Open data as well. So the GUI shows, here you can see all the peaks, and then you have the chance to choose which resonance you want to fit, and then let me see. You can click a button to do the fit and choose which PDF to use and which initial parameters you want to give for the fit. And here the final fit for the Z-peak. So this GUI is still in Portuguese. It's work in progress, but we like it quite a lot because we can also then use it for high school students to learn a little bit about HEP. So before the pandemic, we had a boiled down version of this GUI running with Bokeh on a server. But with the pandemic, we had to shut it down, and now we are looking to continue. We have already on the pipeline other students to take this project over, and then we would like then to put it in a package to translate the GUI to English, and then include some other functionalities so we can use it as outreach in high schools. So then here it's my last slide before the conclusion. It's what we do on high school. So we start very simple with block programming, so they learn the logics. Then we go to the classic turtle module so that they can draw images, and then with this they learn like simple things like functions and data structure of Python. And then they moved on. Those 2 students, they started with us, they were very young, and now they have moved on to work on some a little bit more complex like Monte Carlo methods and image pattern recognition. They are already in high school now. And we also do workshops. So the last one we did had 5 afternoons with the same program, like 2 or 3 hours per afternoon. And now with the schools and high schools coming back, we are going to do an online workshop. So that brings me to the conclusions. So Python is not only a powerful programming language, as you know, but it can also have a social aspect, and we are exploring this facet of Python. We are very happy because the project got some funding, and with this we will be able to purchase laptops or Raspberry Pis or whatever we find fit to bring Python to schools and high schools, because up to now we have the students coming to the university lab to do the workshops, but we think we can also reach out to them and go directly to the schools. And then I was also asked if there are ways that the PyHEP community could help with this project. So one thing I thought is that we really like this peak GUI, so it would be really nice to have it, once we have it packaged, to have it running in other servers on other universities. So if you're interested, please contact us at these emails here. So that's it. That's all for me. Thank you.
Thank you very much, Helena. Now, there's a few questions over on the Slido, if you'd like to bring up that window. So the link should be in the chat, the Zoom chat.
Okay, let me. The Slido, join discussion in Slack, no, slide, okay.
If you could screen share that so we can read the questions too, that would be great.
Sure. Still coming up here. Sure. I think it's this one. Did I get the right?
Yep, just click over to the Q&A on the top part of the screen. Yes, and maybe zoom in a little bit. Excellent, thank you.
I'd like to understand how PyHEP can engage better and more explicitly. Yes, so for example, when we have this Python GUI package, it would be nice to have it running on servers on other universities, if that's possible. I don't know, but I think we can also, I let my contacts there, we can also think of ways of collaborating on different topics and projects. So the undergrad students, I think most of them don't have language problems with English, so we could collaborate then. For the high school students, I think it's a little bit more difficult because of the language, but we can also do the intermediation. So the other question, have you looked at carpentries at all? No, actually not. Thank you very much. I'm gonna look into it. What is affirmative action? Accepting students some other way based on the financial situation of the family or something else? So the affirmative action that I mentioned from the state university is that they created quotas for both socio-economic quotas as racial quotas. So you can declare yourself as a Brazilian Indian, for example, and there is an amount of quota that is designed for you at the university. So it's both racial and financial. How could the PyHEP community help you out with this project? Yes, so as I mentioned already, we can start collaborations, working on projects together. I've let the contacts of the project there, so please contact us. And I hope we will manage to have at least the GUI running soon. And if we can have it running other places, that would be great. I think
there was one final question from Ben that was just added.
What is the reaction like from your students when they start analyzing data and making plots? Oh, they are very enthusiastic. It's a very rewarding project because we all have a lot of fun. It's really nice. They're very enthusiastic and they produce really nice results.
All right. I think that is all of the. Oh, actually, one final. If you scroll down, oh, yeah, there we
go. No, we don't have. So, how many students go on to engage with science as a result of the classes? we are not very good yet on keeping track of the statistics, but we should. At the undergrad level, we had a few that actually continue on and go to do their masters or PhDs with us, but we should keep track. Yes.